So what is going on, people? Welcome to a much awaited, no, I wouldn't say it's much awaited, but for me it's been a long anticipated road, let's say, back to YouTube. Here we are. Today, slightly different. Obviously, it's not going to be any gameplay. Today, we are reviewing my championship predictions from the start of the season. I've been meaning to make this video for a little while. I haven't got around to it. Finally, now the sun's out and I should be outside, I finally got the time to do it. So yeah, I can't stop looking at my hair. I'm going to drop in a clip of the video that I did, the championship video. This was in the middle of September. People, and welcome to a new video on the channel, something slightly different. Compare the hair, skinhead practically here. I mean, it's quite long, bit crappy in this weather. Anyway, I'll probably chop up this bit, just a load of old waffling. Anyway, championship predictions. So let's start at the bottom, shall we? And actually, the bottom three, if you have a look at it, I got all the teams spot on. I just got two in the wrong order. So I said Wycombe would finish bottom. Obviously, Sheffield Wednesday finished bottom. Yeah, really poor season from Sheffield Wednesday. You kind of expected it with the points deduction. But even so, they've been on the decline for a while. They had, like 3 or 4 managers throughout the season. I felt a bit bad for Darren Moore. I feel like he was doing quite a good job, but he's probably just brought in a bit too late. So yeah, the board has effectively cost Sheffield Wednesday their place in the Championship next season. Rotherham, I said, would finish 23rd. Got that bang on. They had a chance. I mean, all of the teams had a chance on the final day to stay up, but it was in their hands for so long. What with the Sheffield Wednesday derby result and then Rotherham leading at Cardiff for so long. A valiant fight, but it was always going to be tough. They're sort of like, Rotherham are like the West Brom of the Championship. They just yo-yo between Championship and League One, so I would imagine they'll have a good season in League One next year and probably be back in the Championship soon. And then Wycombe, fair play to them. I predicted them to finish rock bottom, and yeah, they put up a really good fight, finished 22nd in the end. I think I saw an interview with Akin Fenwa a little while ago, and he said it took for them to hit January to realise, oh, they actually do belong in the Championship, and they started playing without any fear and stuff. So, you know, Gareth Ainsworth's done a really good job. I know there was a lot of talk of him going to Preston, but that's been filled by the caretaker manager, I believe. But it wouldn't surprise me if Ainsworth gets a good job in the Championship sooner rather than later. I think he's a really good manager. I don't know whether they'll be able to come straight back up. Might be a tough task, but yeah, it was really good. They were a breath of fresh air this season, and unfortunately for them, they fell to what many people expected them to. Okay, so 21st, Derby County, surviving on the final day in quite miraculous circumstances, a 3-3 draw with Sheffield Wednesday. I had Derby to finish 9th. Yeah, I just thought the end to last season, the end to last season they had when Rooney came in as a player, they were unbelievable for the second half of the season, and Koku looked like he'd finally gotten it together. And then again, you know, for whatever reason this season it just hasn't worked. You know, they sold a few players last summer. I know the likes of Jaden Bogle and Max Lowe went to Sheffield United as well. They managed to keep hold of some decent youngsters, you know, like Louis Sibley, Jason Knight, those sorts of players. But yeah, it just really did not work. I know they've had like 3 failed takeovers now or something this season, which obviously doesn't help, but yeah, really poor season from Derby standards. They would have expected much better. Rooney manages to keep them up. Be interesting to see how he does next season and whether they do get a takeover. But yeah, really poor from Derby. So 20th we had Huddersfield then. Not too dissimilar. I predicted them to finish 18th. I know they had Carlos Corberan come in. That was Bielsa's assistant at Leeds. But yeah, he's come in. Hasn't really changed their fortunes that much. They performed a little bit worse than I was expecting them to, but not too dissimilar to where we really expected them to finish. 19th, Bristol City. Really surprised by this one. I thought they would fall away. They're normally sort of hanging around the playoffs, Bristol City. But I thought that this season they might sort of just tail off a little bit, not be as bad as they have been. just sort of being mid-table. But yeah, this season just really didn't work. Had a really good start under Dean Holden, and then it sort of started to fall apart piece by piece. Didn't really work out for them. They got rid of Holden, ended up bringing Nigel Pearson, who they were about mid-table when he took over. He's managed to get them to 19th, and he's managed to get himself a new 3-year contract. So impressive stuff. I can only see it sort of being much the same for Bristol City unless they have a really good summer. With Pearson at the helm, I wouldn't say I'm confident, to be honest, but who knows. Birmingham finished in 18th. I predicted them to finish 17th, so only one place out. Much of a sort of expected story, really. Karanka came in, tried to play sort of defensively solid football. Didn't really work out for him. Eventually got the boot. Bowyer comes in. Really good appointment, I think, Lee Bowyer, especially for Birmingham, the connection he's got there. And it proved to be, took them on a really good run towards the end of the season. They beat my side, Reading. I think in his first game in charge, maybe. But yeah, so really good job from Bowyer. I like Birmingham as a club. I've been there a couple of times in a student / professional capacity, if you like. Really good people there. Got a bit of a soft spot for Birmingham. Hope that they can do really well pushing forward under Bowyer. In 17th, Nottingham Forest. Really disappointing season from them. I had them to finish in 6th. I just thought after last season, Lamucci had done a fantastic job. And I thought it was going to be more of the same. And it was an awful start to the season for Forest. They just could not get a win for love nor money. Forest, they're not exactly shy about changing managers. Lamucci was gone. Houghton comes in. You know what you're going to get from Chris Houghton. Defence first. It took a little while for him to sort of find his feet as Forest manager. But eventually sort of started picking up results and turning them away from danger, that is. But yeah, really disappointing season from Forest standards. But I think give Houghton, a whole summer, get his players in. I think they could be a force next season. Really rate Chris Houghton as a manager. Coventry finished 16th. I had them to finish 20th. Really good season from Coventry. Expected them to do well I expected them to avoid relegation, I'll put it that way, but they probably did better than I thought they would. But yeah, really good job from Mark Robbins, got a really good group of players there, and I think they could be sort of defensively solid, not defensive, I think they could sort of become a sort of decently established side. I think Robbins is a good manager, and I'm sure they'll just be wanting more of the same, to be honest. 15th was Blackburn Rovers. I had them to finish 12th, banging mid-table. Probably a little disappointing from their standards, I would say. They've been a decent side over the past few years, so to finish 15th, they'll probably be a little bit disappointed. I'll be amazed if nobody picks up Adam Armstrong. I keep thinking that the past couple of summers. He's such a good striker at Championship level. I'd be surprised if sort of a top-end Championship or low-end Premier League striker team doesn't go for him. I remember seeing in one of my Football Manager saves this year that Arsenal signed him, like first season as well. So you never know. Mikel Arteta could be the man he's looking for in the Championship. You never know. But fairly sort of. Like I said, probably they'll be slightly disappointed, Blackburn, with that, but it's not a million miles away from where we expected them to be. Stoke finished in 14th. I predicted them to finish 10th, so again, not too far. They'll probably be a little bit disappointed they didn't finish in the top half. I thought they did alright to start with, I think, under Michael O'Neill. I think they were the first team to beat Reading, because I mentioned Reading, obviously they're my own team, but they had a fantastic start to the season, obviously. Won the first 7 and then drew the next game, and I think Stoke might have been one of the first games we lost, and they just turned us over 3-0 at our own place. And I thought from then on that they'd be right up there, and I think they were for a while. They've sort of petered away. They'll be disappointed, I think, like I said, to finish in 14th. But Preston finished in 13th. I had them to finish 11th. So again, sort of these mid-table sides. Just a couple of spots out on some of them. Yeah, they struggled for a while, Preston. Sort of Alex Neil has done a good job there over the past few seasons, but again, this season just didn't really seem to work out for whatever reason. They were sort of falling down the table. And then Neil's got the boot. I can't remember the life of me. What is it like Frank McAvenny or something? The Preston caretaker did a really, really good job there. Preston, the caretaker manager come in, did a really good job. Brought in his own people. I know Paul Gallagher was part of the staff. He's now retired and he's going to join the coaching setup permanently. Really good end to the season for Preston. If they can take that momentum, then I would expect them to be a top half side next year. That's sort of where they always seem to be. One of the biggest surprises for certain, I think, is Luton Town, who finished 12th. I had them to narrowly avoid relegation. They did it last year, just about managed to avoid relegation. I kind of expected much of the same. But Graham Jones, I think Graham Jones is the manager. He's done an absolutely superb job. And it's a testament to him and all his players, really, I definitely wouldn't have expected him to finish that high. But really good group. Not really much else to say. One of the surprise packages. It'd be interesting to see how far he can take them, I suppose. Millwall finishing in 11th. I had them to finish 8th this season. They might be a little disappointed they weren't closer to the playoffs. Gary Rowett obviously has done a very good job since he's gone there. I think Gary Rowett is a decent manager, to be fair to him. Like I said, they might be slightly disappointed that they didn't get closer to the playoffs. Drew a lot of games this season, 17. They drew more games than they won and lost. If they could just turn a few of those draws into wins, then they certainly would have been sat pretty. But we know what Rowett's like, just defensively tries to set up really solid, and then sort of just go from there, really. And it's always, what you're going to get from a Gary Rowett team. I would expect them to be sort of similar position again next season. 10th, Middlesbrough. I had them to actually, I predicted them to come 14th, so Warnock's actually done a better job than I thought. No surprise, really. Wily old fox, Neil Warnock. You know what you're going to get with him. But just a decent season from Middlesbrough. Again, they're sort of a big club at Championship level. Again, would probably want to be sort of in and around the playoffs. But with Warnock coming in, it's sort of going to be a bit of a building job next season. If they can sort of get their transfers right and keep hold of decent players, then they might be able to edge closer to the playoffs. But decent job from Warnock. Not really much else you can say. Another big surprise, actually, for me this season was QPR. Finished 9th. I had them to finish 15th. QPR sort of mid to lower mid-table side quite often. And they seem to struggle early doors, if memory serves. But, Warburton obviously has done a fantastic job towards the end of the season. Really lifted them. They managed to, start playing some good football, get some results. Really good season by their standards. I think Mark Warburton is a good manager. I can't say I'm fully there's not many people that I could pick out the QPR squad and be like, oh, he's a good player, but they've obviously just got a good squad as opposed to a few standout players. So so I'd say about a lot of teams, testament to them, fair play to them. Maybe who knows how close they could be next season. And just looking at the table now, they finished 9th, but they still finished 16 points away from the playoffs. So Cardiff City finishing 8th. I actually had them to finish 5th. I think Cardiff probably be a little disappointed maybe with their season. Maybe happy with the way it finished, but overall, I think Neil Harris started the season there, didn't he? And then he eventually got the boot, and then old Mick McCarthy came in after his little spell in Cyprus and actually has done a really good job at Cardiff since he's come in. Really turned them around. And really strong finish to the season. Cardiff are, a decent side on paper. They've got some good players. Just feel like with Cardiff sometimes they just make sort of silly mistakes or can just sort of lose games that they shouldn't, So if they cut out that sort of thing, I think they'll sort of challenge for playoffs again. They're that sort of team now. They're going to be in and about sort of every year. Be interesting to see what they do over the summer. Really like Kiefer Moore as a striker as well. Think he's really good. If they can keep hold of him, then I'm sure he'll bang in the goals next season and sort of lead them on a playoff charge. Now, I don't know whether this is the biggest shock. Probably not the biggest, I would say, but Reading finishing 7th, of course my team. I predicted them to finish 19th at the start of the season. The way it's gone in recent years for us has just been, suffering. The fact that we finished in 7th place is remarkable. Obviously, we had an incredible start to the season, won the 7 out of the first 7, and then we drew. And then the international break came, I think, or around that sort of time, and we just collapsed. And we just became the most inconsistent team probably in the division. We'd win one, lose one, win one, lose one, and just could get no run of form together. And we were in and around the playoffs for a long time, and then just the inconsistency really hurt us, and we just couldn't keep up in the end. But if you'd have given me 7th at the start of the season, I would have bitten your hand off. So can't complain. Realistically, be interesting to see how we do next season. I can't imagine do quite that well, but I think we should certainly be looking for the top half. I think on paper we've got a really good first 11, couple of decent squad players. It's going to be an interesting summer from our perspective. Obviously, Omar Richards has gone to Bayern Munich. The talk of our sort of hot prospect Michael Elise could be on his way. So, be interesting to see how we get on this summer. So in 6th, Bournemouth. Interesting season for Bournemouth. I had them to finish 2nd. I thought that they would go up automatically. Thought they would be one of the team to bounce straight back up. And it really didn't happen for them. Obviously, Howe left last summer and Tyndall, came in. Seemed to go all right early doors and then just sort of seemed to peter off. And they sort of, outside the playoffs. And, they were never really in danger of not finishing in the playoffs. But they certainly would have expected to be around that top 2. And they just weren't for a long time. And obviously the whole, Woodgate was brought in as a coach, and then, a week later, all of a sudden he's put in charge. So that looked a bit dodgy from the outside. But, disappointing season, I think, Bournemouth. Playoffs, you've got that chance of going back up. They certainly would have been looking to go up automatically. But so they'll be disappointed they didn't get closer. But still, they made the playoffs. That would have been the minimum, I would imagine. Be interesting to see. I think they've still got a very strong squad. Be interesting to see what Woodgate can do and whether they can sort of challenge to go up automatically next year with the sides coming down. I said about Reading being one of the biggest surprises, but I think realistically, Barnsley are definitely the biggest surprise. I mean, they escaped relegation on the final day of last season, and to finish 5th is unbelievable. They lost Gerhard Struber early doors this season. I thought under Struber they'd improve. I predicted them to finish 16th. And then, Struber goes to New York Red Bulls, and they bring in, typical Barnsley, a manager from Europe that not many people have heard of, Valérien Ismaël. And what an unbelievable job Valérien Ismaël has done. He's just changed that team, and they've just become... I've had the privilege of watching Barnsley in a sort of professional capacity a few times this season, and everything around the club is superb. Ismaël is he's a really good guy, really nice guy, really switched on, and he just you can tell he knows what he wants, and he will push to get what he wants from his players, but he has so much respect for them. And just the belief that he's instilled in them is ridiculous. Really, really good season from Barnsley. Obviously, got a little bit of got the career mode going as well, so that was nice to see from that point of view. Whether they can repeat this feat, it remains to be seen. But yeah, I'm so chuffed for Barnsley. Really good season. Unfortunately, it just wasn't. It was one of them where it's just like, okay, they made the playoffs, but are they really sort of serious promotion contenders? And, they did their best, but unfortunately Swansea bettered them in the playoffs. So yeah, really, really good season from Barnsley. Really happy with that. Speaking of Swansea City, they finished in 4th. I actually had them missing out on playoffs this year by the skin of their teeth. Of course, they snuck in last year, and then they got beat in the semi-finals. This season, they were able to go one better, comfortably in the playoffs. Managed to negotiate Barnsley in the semis, and obviously a couple of days have passed now since the playoff final. It was just a bit of it was just one of those games really for the playoff final for Swansea. Just didn't didn't go their way at all. I don't think they even had a shot on target. And the man sent off, of course, Jay Fulton, gave away the penalty early doors. Matt Grimes could have been sent off early doors, arguably. But they'll be up there again next season for sure. Simon Cooper's done a fantastic job. 2 playoff seasons in a row. Really, really good. I know he's been spoken about for, I think it's the Palace job, but, that remains to be seen. I think they do well to keep hold of him. Swansea, certainly a manager I'm sure a lot of teams would be looking at. But yeah, really good season from Swansea. They'll obviously be disappointed. In 3rd place, and now all the top 3, of course, were promoted. 3rd place, Brentford. And I actually had Brentford winning the league this year. I think the slow start probably cost them. It was sort of, again, quite inconsistent to start with, but then they found their feet and became the typical Brentford we've come to know over the past couple of seasons. And they, marched their way towards the top and had a bit of a tussle between them and Watford for second, but they drew a lot of games compared to Watford, and Watford were just able to pick up the wins. But they definitely deserve to get promoted. Missed out narrowly in the playoff final last season. Thomas Frank has done a very good job there, assembled a cracking squad. Ivan Toney has led the line superbly. But yeah, so definitely deserve to get promoted, and play a final went their way. And I genuinely think Brentford will probably become like an established Premier League team. I really do. I think they've got the foundation there. Obviously just built their new stadium, although it's not massive, that will sort of give them a bit of a boost. Yeah, I just think, the infrastructure and the way they're set up, I think they could be an established Premier League team for a while. So, be really interesting to see. The main thing is they need to keep hold of their players, to be honest. If they lose Tony, they'll have to, well, you say that, they had, who did they have last season leading the line? Of course, Ollie Watkins bagged a number of goals, went off to Villa. They managed to replace him with Ivan Toney, so yeah. Yeah, really good from Brentford. Expect them to do well. Watford finished in second. Then the second, obviously, automatic promotion spot. I actually had them to finish 4th this season. So yeah, really good season from them. They probably would have been expecting to bounce straight back up. Obviously, loved the GoPro videos from Ben Foster this season. They were really entertaining, and it was good sort of insight as well. Considering fans weren't allowed in stadiums for most of the season, gave us that little sneak peek. Obviously, typical Watford, changed their manager halfway through the season, started with Ivic. Didn't feel it was quite working out with him, brought in Cisco, and he's done a tremendous job second half of the season. And yeah, back up to the Premier League Watford go. I think many people would have expected that. They certainly would have been expecting that, and they duly delivered, so fair play to them. And then league winners of the Championship this season, Norwich City, and comfortably, to be honest. They never looked in doubt. They've been top of the league for a long time. They sort of looked like they were running away with it. Only finished 6 points clear of Watford in the end, but even still, that's a decent margin. For credit to Daniel Farker, I thought, Norwich, I said they'd finish 3rd this season, and, I didn't think it would be as comfortable for them as it has been, but they obviously the players believe in Farker, and he's proven to be a good manager. I do fear for them next season. I feel like if they go up with the same mentality they did last time, in terms of, we're not going to change, we're going to play our football, do our thing, then I fear for them. They need to get wise. They need to realise that, a Championship team coming up playing like that week in, week out isn't really sustainable. But it'll be interesting to see, obviously the money you get from getting into the Premier League, I'm sure, will be invested in the squad. Norwich City, your league winners. So I've put like a little sort of points tally of like how far away I've finished. I'm not gonna lie, I've been watching Spencer FC's videos, and just sort of stole the idea from him. But I just thought it'd be interesting to see, in a comparison, sort of like, for every place you get away from where that team finished, you get a point. So, yeah, this is how many points. I haven't worked it out before I edited, I'm not going to lie. But, my excellent Microsoft Excel and snipping tool skills have been in the videos. So, yeah, art or, graphics isn't exactly my strong point. But, yeah, this is how many points I got. Be interesting to see. I'll probably do this again for next season, and then, at the end of next season, compare how I did. I will do this sort of video for the Premier League as well. Be interesting to see how I did there. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video. It's probably a little bit longer than I would have liked, but I'll try and edit it down. But yeah, just good to get back into YouTube. I wanted to record something for a while, finally been able to sit down and do so. And I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you have, pop a like on there for me, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in the next one.